So in the last video, we talked about ionic bonds, and I mentioned that in an ionic bond, you have one atom that completely gives up its electron or electrons to another atom. They become oppositely charged, right? And there's a magnetic interaction between them that bonds them together because of it. What we're going to do with this video is we're going to talk about covalent bonds. So a covalent bond is different from an ionic bond in that the electrons are not exchanged, but what we see happening instead is the atoms are actually going to share those electrons. There are a couple different subtypes of covalent bonds. So in a nonpolar covalent bond, what we've got is the electrons are shared absolutely equally. One has them 50% of the time, the other one has them 50% of the time. And that's the type of covalent bond that we're going to focus on with this video. The other type of covalent bond is what's known as a polar covalent. The difference with that one is electrons are shared, but they are not shared equally. And so I've got another video coming up that's going to introduce you to the polar covalent bonds. I want to give you an example of a molecule, okay, atoms that come together through formation of a covalent bond. So at this point, you should be pretty familiar with hydrogen, the fact that it has a single proton and a single electron, and also with the fact that because it has just that single electron in the valence shell, it's not going to be stable like that. So what needs to happen, right, is we need another electron in each of these hydrogen atoms in order to be able to fill up that valence shell. This happens through a chemical reaction, and here we've got a hydrogen molecule formed. But what I want you to notice is the electrons were not actually given up to one of these atoms or the other. Instead, we've had kind of a merging of the electron orbitals of the two so that they can actually share those electrons and share them equally. So now basically this hydrogen has two electrons and it's happy, it's stable. This hydrogen also has two electrons in its outermost shell, which is going to make it full. It's happy, it's stable. And so this is how we actually see hydrogen existing in nature. It's this hydrogen molecule with two hydrogen atoms that are bound together because this is the most stable conformation for it. It's called nonpolar covalent because since these electrons are shared exactly equally, neither one of these atoms is going to take on a charge. So we're not going to have a molecule that's formed between charged atoms or that has a charge on one end and not on the other. You'll see that happening with polar covalent bonds, and that's our next video.